Welcome back, guys. Today we have a very significant and important news coming out from Huobi. Namely, they are launching their Huobi Prime platform. And the reason this is so important is because nowadays we see a huge trend. And this trend is basically going towards exchanges offering platforms where projects can now sell tokens. Obviously, we've all heard about Binance Launchpad. Binance Launchpad is really stealing the use case from Ethereum when it comes to crowdfunding. So instead of just doing a normal ICO on the Ethereum blockchain, where you have a smart contract that receives all the funds, now you can do an initial exchange offering on an exchange. And so Huobi Prime is kind of like an initial exchange offering, but also very different. And today you will find out everything about Huobi Prime, how it works, why it is even created, what is the difference between Huobi Prime and other IEOs platforms, because it is very different. It is not an IEO platform in the sense that people are thinking about IEOs. Also, we're going to discuss some projects that they are listing, namely the first project that is to be launched on Huobi Prime, namely TOP. So, guys, I think you will learn a lot, because when it comes to exchanges and when it comes to the role exchanges play in the ecosystem of crowdfunding, we're seeing new grounds, we're seeing new possibilities and new trends in the industry. So, therefore, listen very carefully, smash the like, and also you should know that Huobi is sponsoring this channel through this episode. And obviously, we're very thankful. Without sponsors, we would not survive. Okay, Steve, very welcome to the show. Amazing to have you here as well. So can you please tell us a bit about your background, where you're coming from and what you've done in your past?
Thank you, Ivan. My name is Steve. I'm the CEO and the co-founder of Top Network. My background is in the communication industry. Back to 23 years ago, I was leading a team to build a product. It's a web conference. So later it became WebEx, WebEx. So it was a very famous company and was acquired by Cisco in 2007 for about $3.2 billion. So I was basically the very first employee of WebEx. Yeah. So that's about 23 years ago. And later, I started another company, my own company, a video conference company. So the name is Sunwave. And I built the company for about 6 years and then sold the company to Huawei in 2010. And then, after that, mobile internet was hot. And I left from Huawei and started another company. And the name is DingTone. So we basically built 3 communication apps, DingTone, CoverMe, and SkyVPN. So DingTone is like a VoIP app, voice over IP, and CoverMe is essentially the first encryption messenger app, the very first one. It was before then Telegram and Signal. And SkyVPN, that's a VPN application, and combined we have 60 million users. So that's my third time in the communication area. And in the late 2017, I felt decentralized communication could or would disrupt the centralized model. So we started Top Network, and we want to build a decentralized communication network, a public communication network for any communication applications. It can provide like a messenger service, CDN service, VPN service. So any app can access to the network capability. So that's the vision of Top Network. And besides that, we are also building a public blockchain platform, a general purpose blockchain platform. The reason is a very sad reason, because initially we want to use an existing public blockchain as a ledger. A decentralized communication network need a ledger, right? Distributed ledger, DLT. And we trying to find an existing one. So we tested Ethereum and some other blockchains, and we found all those kind of blockchain platforms are so slow, and the token economics doesn't make sense because it's charged so high gas fees. So in the end, we made a hard decision. Jesus, we have to build something by ourselves. So yeah, that's a very bad situation. So in the end, we decided to build a public blockchain platform. So now we are doing 2 things simultaneously. So we have 2 teams. One team is building the decentralized communication network. Another team is building the public blockchain platform. It's a really high performance, a general purpose blockchain platform. So that's what we are doing, and that's what I did in the past.
And so one of the news that you guys have recently is the fact that you're gonna be applying, and you are already accepted. You're gonna be launching on Huobi Prime. So how did you manage to get on Huobi Prime, and what kind of benefits you guys are getting from that?
You know, our team is in Silicon Valley, and Huobi actually, you know, they are pretty active in Silicon Valley. They sometimes send the team to Silicon Valley because, as you know, Silicon Valley has a lot of very good blockchain projects and has a lot of talent. And so we have the chance to meet the Huobi team many times. So we know each other very well. So those teams are very professional, and they are really nice and open. So we have a good impression to each other. And last month, so Huobi promoted, say, hey, they will have a Huobi Prime. It's a very good channel to list the tokens, and it's really compliant to regulation. So that really makes us excited. And so we talked to them. We have several conversations, and it's turned out, we really meet the criteria, have a very good team, I mean, strong background in the industry, and a very good technology. And the most important thing is, we have users, and our blockchain will have real users, a real use case, and the token economic totally makes sense. And another factor, our valuation is very reasonable. So that's the reason Huobi really like that. And we also like them because, they don't charge a listing fee, and they are compliant, and those people are good. And so it's a perfect match.
Very interesting, and it's definitely going to be interesting to follow you as the first project to launch on Huobi Prime. But looking at your idea a bit deeper and looking at your competitors, we see Telegram. So Telegram is one of the players that is also building a decentralized communication platform. So how are you different from them, and are you scared of them? Because obviously they're well known, so many people are using them. So how do you feel about their project?
You know what? Telegram works like a black box. Actually, nobody knows what they are doing. You see, they don't have a website, they don't have a community, and they don't release weekly reports. Even the investor don't know what those people are doing. So basically, they get $1.7 billion and run away. And what we have right now, what we know is the white paper. So if we look at the white paper and compare the white paper to top network, and we can find a huge difference. So first of all, Telegram is not building a decentralized communication network. They are not. They are only building a public blockchain platform. So it's purely a blockchain platform only, and we are building a decentralized communication network. And regarding the blockchain, in the blockchain side, we are doing the blockchain both, right? And but the white paper, if we look at the white paper, look into deep, the white paper actually is wrong. So there are a lot of wrong idea. For example, they are promoting infinite sharding. Sharding could not be infinite. If you have a lot of shard, so you will have a lot of cross-shard transaction, and that will lower the performance. So we actually don't have this design. So we call it two-layer sharding. That's a novel design. So we call it zone and shard. So the whole blockchain space is divided into multiple zones, and each zone is divided into multiple shards. So we call this two-layer sharding. And you know what? This architecture really matches the internet backbone. Because if you look at the internet, you see, the internet has a backbone, has the edge network. So it's a two-layer. It's not a one layer. And a blockchain platform, in the end, the network bandwidth is the real bottleneck. Computing is not a bottleneck because the server is powerful enough. It can verify so many transactions. But the network, the bandwidth is a huge issue. And we know the internet very well because we are building the communication business very long. So we leverage our knowledge to design the blockchain platform to fit into the architecture of internet. Yeah. So that's our advantage. And we right now we already have the testnet 3.0, and we will launch the mainnet end of this June. So we are moving ahead of them, and our testnet already proof we have. Last October we launched testnet 1.0. We already achieved 8,000 TPS. So when we launch the mainnet, the TPS would be over like 50,000, and it will be very, very fast and have a very, very good token economy. The token economy is very friendly to real world business. So I think we have a huge advantage over Telegram. Yeah, and that's the major part. And plus, we are open and transparent, and those guys are a black box.
Right. And so, final question: looking at the top token, what does it do? Why do you need it? Why should people invest and try to get a top token?
Okay, so top token is purely a utility token. It's a pure utility token. So let me explain, what's the function of top tokens, and then we need to understand why we need to list the top token on exchange. So in our decentralized communication network, the top token is like a currency to pay the service fee. Let's say a VPN app uses 1 GB data, and the VPN app needed to pay, let's say, 2 tokens, right? And the token is paid to the node instead to pay any middleman. So pay from the app to the node, let's say 2 tokens. So that's the fee, that's the service fee. So the nodes needed to provide the communication service, means the bandwidth, to get the tokens. So it's like, a server in the data center receive money from the app, very similar thing. So we need to list the token on exchange. So make sure, token is circulating and people can buy the token for usage, and people can sell the tokens. Yeah. So that's our token economic. And you know what? We already have 60 million users, and we will move the users to the new blockchain platform. So in the beginning, we will have a lot of transactions, volumes, and I would say, the token price would appreciate a lot as soon as we move the business to the blockchain platform. Yeah.
So another interesting question is, of course, the market size of your project. How big is this market of communication, and how are you calculating? What numbers are you looking at?
Okay, that's a good question. Communication is a huge industry. Yesterday, the Zoom company, a lot of people are using Zoom for video conference, right? The Zoom fight SEC to go IPO. The CEO, Eric Yuan, happened to my friend, and he is actually the chief advisor of Top Network. And we were colleagues in Webex. And when I started building the Webex original team, he was actually in my team. So Zoom is a $10 billion company, and the revenues are close to 800 million. You see, that's a video conference. That's a huge market. And what we are doing is more about that. We are building a communication platform, include conference, messenger, CDN, VPN. So you can imagine that the market size is huge, the addressable market for TopNet. And comparing to Telegram, our valuation is so undervalued. You know what? Telegram's valuation is over 20 billion, right? Something like that. They raised 1.7 billion. And as I mentioned, Huobi Prime, they like a low valuation project. And you can see, our initial valuation on Prime is only like $52 million. So you can see the space, how much we can grow. The valuation will appreciate a lot after we list the tokens.
Very interesting, Steve. Thank you so much for explaining. Thank you so much for being on the show. And guys, if you have any questions to Steve, leave them in the comment section. And the guys at top, together with Ross from Huobi Prime, is here with us. It's amazing to have you here. I feel good energy from you. Ross, can you please tell us what is your background? Give us some introduction to yourself so people get some idea of who you are.
Hello, hi everyone. Thanks, Evan, for inviting me today. It's great to be here. So my name is Ross. I'm the head of marketing for Huobi Group. So before I joined Huobi, I used to work for one of the largest institutional investor, Canada Pension Plan Investment Board. But like I started my career as a developer, so I know like both tech and I know finance. So that's why I was interested in the blockchain technology, and actually I'm one of the early advocates for blockchain technology in large financial institutions.
Very interesting, very interesting. And so your current engagement is mostly with Huobi Prime, the past weeks and this week and the following weeks. Can you please tell us more about Huobi Prime? What is the difference between Huobi Prime and a normal initial exchange offerings that we've seen other exchanges such as Binance have? What is the real difference between an IEO and what you guys are doing at Huobi Prime?
Oh, sure, yeah, yeah. You can tell like we're super busy with Huobi Prime right now. And so I'll explain how Huobi Prime works, and then I will tell the difference between Huobi Prime and IEO, because that's where like most people get confused from. So Huobi Prime will launch tomorrow Singapore time on March 26th at 9 p.m. And what Huobi Prime offers is a fast, direct, and easy way for the regular users to access premium projects, and so the trading of Huobi of the tokens on Huobi Prime is right away, so you don't need to wait. And also, so Huobi Prime involves 3 rounds of tradings, and each round lasts 30 minutes, and the price will be capped in each round. And that price limit and that price cap will increase as time goes on. So in order to participate Huobi Prime, so you need to have a Huobi Global user account, and you need to use you need to have on average the daily holding of 500 HT or more of Huobi tokens in your Huobi account. However, for the first launch of Huobi Prime with top network, that 500 Huobi token limit will be waived, because we would like everyone to participate, and that's an important thing to remember. And also please remember that individual purchases made through Huobi Prime cannot exceed the equivalent of $1,000 in Huobi token. So that's basically how Huobi Prime works, right? So it has 3 phases, and each phase lasts 30 minutes, and you use your Huobi tokens to buy top coin.
And so just to summarize in like one sentence, so if you compare it to other IEOs, what is the difference with what you just described?
Yeah, so IEO stands for Initial Exchange Offering. So that is a way for the project team to raise funds from the exchange. But like Huobi Prime is not IEO. Like the purpose is totally different, right? Huobi Prime is not for the project team to raise funds from the exchange. And also normally the IEO will charge the project listing fee. So, and Huobi Prime does not charge listing fee for the project. So the purpose of Huobi Prime is not to raise funds, but it is to give regular traders easier access to the premium projects at a discount price. So it has a few key advantages, including all the coins that you trade right away on Huobi Prime will be deposited to your account. There's no delay or whatsoever. So if you guys have ever participated other IEOs, you will the trading didn't start right away, and there's IEO phase and there's a trading phase. And also we impose rigorous screening and selection processes to ensure only premium projects that have not yet to be listed on other major exchanges are included on Huobi Prime. And also, yeah, go ahead.
Can we just clarify a bit, when you say premium projects, what does it mean? What kind of criteria are you using to define a premium project?
Oh yeah, so in order to be qualified for the project listed on Huobi Prime, so we use a smart chain model to evaluate the project. So that's a quantitative model that we used to evaluate to evaluate hundreds of projects before. So on top of that, so we look at the following criteria closely. So one is, the project needs to have a strong project team. Like for example, the top network, it has a strong project team, and the founders are, the CEO Steve is a serial entrepreneurs, and the CMO Noah graduate from Yale, and also the founding team has impressive background. So that's the first criteria. And the second criteria, we look at the business model. It needs to be a progressive business model with long-term value creation. It has to be, somewhere like the mid to long term. It needs to have a mid to long-term business plan. It's not just for, the short-term speculation. And also the project needs to have impressive financial backing. So again, the Huobi Prime model is not to raise funds for the project. So that's why we require the project team to have impressive financial backing, and also because we value the community a lot. So that's why the project needs to have excellent support from the community, and also the project needs to have a solid reputation. And not only the project itself, but also the project team. It cannot have negative news or scandals with the founding members. And also an important part is the project cannot be previously listed on other major exchange. So and in addition to all those criteria, so we also look at whether a project involves major technology breakthroughs, or all of the founders have exceptional industry reputation, or whether the project has exceptional advisors from the industry, or they're highly respected individual to endorse them. And also we look at the token economics very closely. So the token economics need to make sense and have good use cases. So and also if the project was invested by Huobi Capital or Huobi Ecosystem Fund, that would be a strong plus too. So we can tell that not every product that can be like a listed on Prime. So it needs to be a premium product based on all those criteria.
So we discussed the criteria, and you also touched upon your first project, Top, and why you've chosen them. We're going to talk to them as well later on. But also I want to ask, when you do Huobi Prime, are you keeping security tokens in mind as well, or is it only utility tokens? Because at the end of the day, many people are speculating that utility tokens may not be the future the way we saw it just a year ago, that it is security tokens that are more interesting. So how do you view that, and will you accept security tokens in the future?
No. So I want to make clear that we are not accepting security tokens to be listed on Huobi. So actually that's part of our compliance and legal review. And we only list the utility tokens. So why is that? Is because the security token needs a rigorous compliance requirements, and and the different jurisdictions have different regulations on it. So that's why we are not listing security tokens on Huobi Global. So and in terms of the future of utility tokens, because the blockchain technology is still in the early phase, still in the early stage, and the utility tokens are still play an important role in the public chain development, right? Because we haven't seen a major a breakthrough from the public chain development. So for example, like Ethereum or like IEOs, or other public chains, so they still use the utility tokens in the public chain. So, we'll see about that. So right now, we only list the utility tokens.
Okay, Ross, so what kind of other advantages does Huobi Prime have, except for those that we have already mentioned?
Yeah, so on top of the easy access to premium projects, and also the trading start right away. So the users have early access to the coins at the discount price from the market, and and it's accessible for both big and small players. And Huobi Prime will be open to the retail traders and not just professionals or the VIPs. And so in order to mitigate the periods of extreme volatility when the market opens, so that's where the price cap comes from. So we imposed the price cap to reduce the risk of adverse impacts on the investors. So that's why we have this tiered price limits to protect the investors.
Okay, Ross, thank you so much for the information.